الكل عنده خطط وطموحات وتطلعات للمستقبل، لكن شو يحفزنا على تحقيقها؟ وكيف ممكن نوصل لمكانة التقدم اللي نحلم فيها؟ أنا فاطمة الكعبي، وعندي فضول كبير أني أتعلم أكثر وأكون جزء من تكوين المستقبل.
نحن في دولة الإمارات تعلمنا ثقافة اللا مستحيل.
We love making a difference.
I don't think any technology has a disadvantage. Abuse of technology brings the disadvantage.
المواهب الوطنية أنا أشوفها هي نفط المستقبل.
أنا حالياً أدرس هندسة الكمبيوتر، ودايماً أبهرتني الابتكارات العلمية التكنولوجية من يوم ما كان عمري 10 سنوات. عندي شغف باكتشاف الأفكار الجديدة والحلول المبتكرة القادرة على صنع فرق في عالمنا. بالرغم من المتغيرات المحيطة بنا، نعيش وقت استثنائي يحظى فيه جيلي من الشباب والشابات بدعم للتفوق في مختلف المجالات، وهذا بسبب الرؤية الحكيمة لوالدنا المؤسس الشيخ زايد طيب الله ثراه، اللي تضيء لنا طريقنا في هذه الحياة.
كان سيدي صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن زايد تكلم وقال كيف نحن ننظر ل50 سنة للأمام بحيث أن نحتفل بتصدير آخر برميل بترول.
بيجي وقت بعد 50 سنة وبنحمل آخر سفينة، آخر برميل نفط. السؤال بعد 50 سنة بعد تحميل هذا البرميل هل بنحزن؟ إذا كان الاستثمار اليوم صحيح، أنا أراهن يا أخوان وأخوات أنا بنحتفل في هذه اللحظة.
شو هي دوافع الإمارات نحو التركيز على مجالات الابتكار والإبداع؟ وشو الأسباب وراها؟ شو المكان اللي نحلم بالوصول لها؟
وفي الوقت اللي يشهد فيه العالم انتشار تطبيقات الثورة الصناعية الرابعة اللي تركز على استخدامات التكنولوجيا الحديثة في مجالات جديدة مثل الروبوتات والذكاء الاصطناعي والطباعة ثلاثية الأبعاد وإنترنت الأشياء وغيرها، الإمارات مستمرة بتشجيع الابتكار ونشر تطبيقات التكنولوجيا المتقدمة في كل القطاعات والمجالات. طبعاً هذا التركيز على الابتكار لا يأتي من فراغ، وإنما من التركيز الدائم والثابت للقيادة الرشيدة في دولة الإمارات على تشجيع الابتكار ومواجهة التحديات وتحويل هذه التحديات إلى فرص مستدامة.
في مايو 2019 تم إطلاق صندوق المشاريع التابع لمكتب أبو ظبي للاستثمار ضمن مبادرة غداً 21 التابعة لحكومة أبو ظبي، ويدعم الصندوق المنظومة المتكاملة للشركات الناشئة من خلال توفير رأس المال وأيضاً فرص عمل في الوظائف اللي تتطلب خبرة في التكنولوجيا المتنامية، وبهاي الطريقة نضمن أن الأفكار الكبيرة ما تتقيد برأس مال محدود.
We can make Abu Dhabi a destination for these businesses to not only get set up here, but also thrive and grow and create hundreds to thousands of jobs that are technologically oriented, innovation driven, and help change the world.
We know that Mubadala is a global investment company and has transformed so many sectors over the years through its partnerships and investments. We also can't deny that digital disruption is a reality and is part of our future and our present. So how is investing in innovation and technology going to push this further and might even create economic diversification and growth?
You know, my favorite part about investing in disruption and investing in those areas that I think have innovation as kind of their most important component is that you never see the same thing twice. You're always learning. So by definition, when you're looking at something that's disruptive, it's because they're changing the status quo. They're changing the normal way of doing something. Look, innovation really is going to drive and be at the heart for transformation. And that is one of the most important ways to help diversify the economy here in Abu Dhabi. So if we think about what we're doing, we're using something we're really good at, which is the extraction of oil and hydrocarbons and, all the great things that, we've done over the past 30, 40, 50 years. plus taking the expertise that we've developed as sovereign wealth funds, like Mubadala, like Adia, like ADIC, like ADQ, and essentially putting that capital and know-how together to help attract or incubate disruptive businesses here in Abu Dhabi that will help transform the way that we live, the way that we consume, the way that we think about products, the way that we think about things like cars, the way that we think about medicine and healthcare, and, every possible industry that you can think about.
نانوراكس شركة مقرها في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وتركز على مجال الأبحاث في الفضاء، ومن قريب فتحوا مكتبهم في هاب 71 في أبو ظبي.
We have, for a long period of time, looked at the long-term effects of climate change, population growth, and desertification. And so we see space as the perfect extreme environment where those type of ag tech technologies can be developed. Those technologies can be utilized even on Earth. As we go into the moon, Mars, and even beyond, we have to bring our own food, our own solutions in order for us to be sustained in these areas.
So you can make life on Earth easier by doing research in space?
Yes, we can. Because what happens is if you send what we call novel seeds or crops or microbes into space and expose them and stress them with high levels of radiation, low water, low gravity, they're stressed out to the point where their genetic makeup changes. And some of those, you bring them back to Earth and you can put them in the desert and it can bloom in the desert. And the UAE is looking to the future and looking now, hey, we need to start using our technology to grow our own food here, whatever way we can. And so what we're doing is something that's never been done in the world before. We'll have the first agricultural space technology center here in the UAE. Because we believe that this region is going to be a big, powerful force in the exploration of space.
1969 at 9:32 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, clock.
In sci-fi movies, and now they're becoming a reality. How did Waymo come to be?
Waymo actually started out life as the Google self-driving car project back in 2009. And that was when we designed a prototype vehicle, the Firefly, which completed the world's first fully autonomous ride on public roads. And since then, over the last 10 years, we've been developing and testing our technology. So we've put all of our new ideas through a really rigorous testing process that's on the road, that's in simulation, to make sure that it's safe before we allow it anywhere into our cars. We're not looking to build a better car. What we're really looking to do is to build a better driver. And we hope that that most experienced driver can really transform some of the 10 trillion miles that motor vehicles travel around the world.
We know that GlobalFoundries is an agile company, but is it shifting to adapt to the changes of the world, or is it creating those technologies that create those changes?
I can't talk about technology without talking about semiconductors. It's the great democratizer. It brings capability, it brings access, it brings connectivity to the world. Semiconductors touches everything we do as a society, as a company, as all of humankind. If you're making a phone call, the chips that make the connection from the phone to the cell tower, GF makes them. You listen to music on your phone, we make the audio chips. Do you like the camera? Well, we make the image sensor processor in the phone. The touch display, we make the chips that enable the haptic. We make 100% of all handsets manufactured in the world, independent of whose handset it is. It's hard for anybody in this industry to be a leader because it's a very complex supply chain, but being part of describing what that next generation of technology looks like is an important part for GF.
الاستثمار في التقدم التكنولوجي له دور كبير على حياتنا، لكن الاستثمار في القطاع الصحي له دور أكبر، واللي يجعل هذا الاستثمار أكثر صعوبة ودقة.
We always like doing something with somebody who's done it before, not just because we can learn from them, but also because it gives you new perspectives. Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi is a great example of partnership, but it's also a great example of fusing technology and innovation in medicine, in healthcare. Robotic heart surgery accounts for the great majority of the type of heart interventions we do here in the hospital.
Coming into this interview, I thought maybe that prefer the traditional methods of medicine over, using robotics, especially in other industries. I've worked with robotics for years and seeing how people react to these technologies being introduced into their daily lives. Not everyone is a big fan of technology, so it's very interesting to see it from a medical perspective.
Most people think the robot is doing surgery. The robot actually is not. It's the surgeon, and it's the exact same surgery that you would do open, but very fine instruments which are human-like. What the robot did brought wrist management. So the instruments are like hands, but they're inside a human being, and the hands are controlled by the surgeon from a distance. So it's very cool, even from an engineering point of view, but from a cosmesis point of view, from a blood loss point of view, from a return to work point of view, it really changed the paradigm. We used to say heart surgery, you'll be out for 6 to 8 to 12 weeks. Now we say you only have to be out for 2 weeks.
You're applying technology. You're encouraging doctors to say, hey, look, we have an environment here in Abu Dhabi at Cleveland Clinic where we're encouraging medicine being practiced at the cutting edge of both science and technology.
الحلول الذكية تتطلب التفكير خارج الصندوق، لكن هذا مو معناته أن أفكارنا لازم تكون معقدة. ممكن أصغر الحلول تحل أكبر المشاكل، وهاللي سوته ليزلي دريك الرئيسة التنفيذية لشركة أوتست ميديكال مع مشروعهم تابلو آلة غسيل الكلى.
Dialysis has not really changed over the last 30 years. We're still using equipment from the 80s. The whole care delivery model sort of been frozen in time. Patients have really only had one choice around where to go and get this life-sustaining therapy, which is in a dialysis clinic. And so our vision from the beginning was to use technology for a larger purpose, and not technology for technology's sake, but technology as an agent of change in the whole care delivery model. And our definition of that was enabling more people to dialyze at home, where we felt they would have a better chance of sort of dialyzing to live versus living to dialyze. And so eventually the R&D vision became, Could we make kind of the Swiss Army knife? Could we fold in the functionality of 5 or 6 different dialysis machines all into one? Tableau is about 36 inches tall. So we thought about 36 inches on wheels so that we could offer hospitals and health systems a simpler, more cost-effective, more sustainable solution for dialysis that enabled them to use one device platform, whether that was in the ICU or in the home. Tableau has 3,500 components in it and about 500,000 lines of code. And then we decided to wrap a whole data ecosystem, two-way wireless data transmission, as well as predictive algorithms, machine learning, that ultimately make the Tableau machines smarter over time. In terms of simplicity, it should be easy enough for a 5th grader to use it, really without even hardly needing to read or write English. The first time we ever treated somebody on Tableau, it was years ago. He had just used Tableau really for the first couple of weeks. And so he said that he had been able to go back to work even on his dialysis days because he didn't feel like he'd been on dialysis.
يتطلب الإبداع ذكاء. عشان نجني ثمار هذا الإبداع علينا نكون مستعدين لتحديات المستقبل ونتأقلم مع التغيرات. فممكن التقدم التكنولوجي، الابتكار، الكوارث الطبيعية وحتى الأوبئة تغير طريقة عملنا. فكيف ممكن نكون مستعدين للمستقبل؟
أشعر بالفخر وأنا أشوف طيارة تمر من فوق في سماء الإمارات محملة بقطع من مصنوعة في شركة ستراتا. في ستراتا غير عن أن نحن نصنع أجزاء للطائرات، كذلك نحن نوظف الطاقات والقدرات اللي عندنا في ستراتا أن نطور من التكنولوجيا الموجودة اللي تساعدنا في عمليات التصنيع عندنا. اليوم ستراتا تعطي شركات من مثل إيرباص، من مثل بوينغ، حلول تكنولوجية تساعدنا نحن في عمليات التصنيع.
The coronavirus
and international flights have been cut back or cancelled.
Reporting shortages of face masks
is showing no signs of slowing down.
كان في تعاون بيننا وبين شركة هانيويل، وهالتعاون كان إن نحن نصنع كمامات N95 في ظل الجائحة. فنحن كان أول خط إنتاج في منطقة الخليج العربي لهالكمامات.
وجهت القيادة قبل 15 عام بتأسيس مصدر كمبادرة وطنية متعددة الأوجه للتكنولوجيا والطاقة المتجددة، وأنها تكون نموذج للتنمية الاقتصادية والاجتماعية المستدامة والمتكاملة. واليوم أصبحت شركة مصدر مستثمر رئيسي في مجال الطاقة المتجددة داخل وخارج الإمارات، وشاركت بتطوير مشاريع الطاقة المتجددة في أكثر من 30 دولة.
أهمية إكمال مسيرة الإنجازات وخلق الفرص مهما كانت التحديات اللي نواجهها. ومثل ما سمعنا من القادة والخبراء في مختلف المجالات، مستقبل جيلي والأجيال القادمة زاهر بإذن الله. في النهاية نحن في دولة لا مستحيل، ومهما كانت هذه التحديات بنتخطاها بعزيمتنا وإصرارنا. فسؤالي لكم، كيف ممكن أنتم تتركون أثر على هذا العالم؟